Hello, everyone! A human face emerges from black goo. It turns out to be a young woman, who then washes herself off, sitting on the bathroom floor. An unfamiliar woman helps her dress and clean herself up. She later wakes up on a bed and discovers a guy next to her.
You okay? It's alright.
Where am I?
You're in my room.
Without saying his name, he gives her a blanket to keep her warm. Then the guy turns on their favorite song and offers the girl a glass of wine. She remembers absolutely nothing, and this clearly upsets the stranger. Suddenly, he grabs the girl by the neck and starts to strangle her. He violently bashes her head against the floor, killing her. Spencer drags the body away and places it in a silver rectangular container outside the house. His mother Victoria returns home and asks her son to write an account of what happened in his journal. The son is unhappy with the quality of this clone and says that it was nothing like the original. Victoria goes to the lab where she receives a call from Spencer's father, Parker. They meet in virtual reality, where the frustrated woman says all her efforts amount to nothing.
He needs help.
That's what I'm doing.
Clinical help.
They'll take him from me.
The mother is still determined to solve the problem her own way. Spencer's dad highlights the importance of directly observing Spencer's behavior, rather than relying solely on his reports. Victoria hesitates to record the murders on camera, concerned they could incriminate them, but eventually agrees to do it. Soon, Spencer is eagerly waiting for another clone prepared by his mother to wake up. He notices that he's being filmed and gets furious when the confused girl once again fails to answer his questions. She doesn't remember who she is and has no recollection of Spencer, so she tries to leave. Victoria cries and turns away from the screen not to see her son kill the clone the same way he did before. Spencer destroys the camera on the wall and drags the corpse outside. He thinks back to the first time he encountered his victim. Walking in the desert, he saw a girl being forcibly pushed out of a car by her acquaintance and left all alone. Spencer received a message from his overbearing mom, who monitored him to make sure her son never strayed too far from home. Victoria wrote that she'd be late, and Spencer decided to approach the stranger, who was cursing left and right.
Left me out here in the middle of nowhere without a phone. I swear to God, if I ever see you again, I'm gonna f***ing kill you.
Spencer informed the girl that she would have to walk all night to reach the nearest town. Annoyed, the girl asked if Spencer could give her a ride, but he didn't have a car. He'd come here on foot from a nearby house. Feeling cold and left with no other choice, she reluctantly agreed to stop by for a visit. Introducing herself as Ashley, she demanded his jacket. Victoria interrupts her son's trip down memory lane, and he bluntly tells her that this whole silly reenactment thing won't work. The mother believes the results aren't too bad for a fourth attempt and asks for more time. She would be happy to let her son leave, but she must be sure he can keep himself in check. Afterward, Victoria calls Parker and accuses him of making her watch Spencer do horrible things. The man insists that it's the only way to fulfill the boy's needs and thus prevent him from killing other people. The woman intends to spend more time with the new clone to better recreate Ashley's personality. She doesn't return calls from coworkers who notice Victoria's absence. Her company is about to revolutionize healthcare by producing custom-grown organs for transplant. Victoria puts the next clone in the guest bedroom and asks Spencer not to interact with her. The boy agrees and continues to work on detailed anatomical drawings. He notices his mother talking to the clone and afterward draws a portrait of Ashley and ants crawling on her face. Spencer goes for a walk and notices a neighbor he hasn't seen before. She is moving into her parents' vacant house after graduating from university. She had been studying law, but now has a desire to pursue creative writing. The guy helps the friendly and chatty girl unpack her belongings. She is delighted to encounter another living soul in this area.
I am such a jerk. Here you are helping me, and I haven't even asked you your name yet. I'm Marissa.
Her mom also calls her every day to check on her daughter. Spencer helps Marissa carry boxes and draws a portrait of the new acquaintance when he returns home. Meanwhile, Marissa comes to Spencer's house and rings the doorbell. She introduces herself to Victoria when she answers the door, offers a plate of cookies as a thank you gift, and soon leaves. A scared mother angrily shouts at Spencer for making friends with the girl. She informs Parker about the incident and mentions her son's recent drawings. It appears that Spencer is fixating on Marissa. However, Victoria continues to focus on Ashley's personality and shows her some glimpses of her past life that she found on social media. The next day, Spencer returns the plate to Marissa and she invites him inside. The guy gives her the portrait he drew of her and it really impresses her. Marissa wants Spencer to make a sketch for a tattoo to be inked on her neck. That body part is clearly making him anxious, but the guy restrains himself. Marissa says that Spencer is weird, but she likes him, and her words make the guy blush. At home, Victoria yells at her son again, unhappy that he visited Marissa. She demands that he stop seeing her and suggests introducing him to the new clone the next day. Spencer's mind circles back to Ashley, the girl he brought home from the desert. Upon realizing they were alone, she used her stash of substances in the bathroom and then wanted to drink wine with Spencer in the kitchen. She had no plans to call anyone and just wanted to make it to town. In response, Spencer told her to wait for his mother with the car.
Probably not for another hour or so.
So, how should we kill a few hours?
The shy guy didn't take the hint and remained silent in response. Ashley then asked to turn on her favorite song that her grandmother used to put on when she was a kid. Afterward, she headed to Spencer's room. That's where the flashback cuts off. Spencer takes a sip of wine before meeting the new clone of Ashley. Victoria explains to the girl that her son is shy, but can become more open when talking about art or music. Victoria then leaves them alone, and Spencer puts on the song that Ashley had once adored. The clone doesn't react, but asks to see more of Spencer's drawings. As she flips through his album, she comes across portraits of herself, depicting her dead. Terrified, she attempts to uncover the meaning behind it all, and Spencer once again attacks the clone. Victoria cries when she hears the sounds of strangulation coming from behind the door. After taking care of the body, Spencer tells his mother that he constantly feels isolated from the world, and this feeling is literally smothering him. But today, he felt something different, and suddenly he can breathe more freely. He was able to experience the same feeling he did on the day of the first murder. The son thanks his mother and hugs her. Victoria tells Parker the great news and hopes that clones can be used to prevent any crimes in the future. The man replies that even organ growing has been difficult to legalize, and such experiments would certainly cause a public outcry. But for now, the mother will test how long the positive effects last. She hopes her son will be able to move out and live a normal life.
Return home whenever he needs his fix.
The next day, Spencer thinks about Ashley next to the container when Marissa runs by. She asks how he's dealing with the loneliness and silence because it's driving her crazy. The girl's been seeing a therapist to fix her eating disorder, but she's feeling better now. Spencer also says he used to go to therapy, but quit. Marissa wonders what was bothering the guy. He thinks about what to answer when he suddenly notices a bloody lock of Ashley's hair on the ground. Spencer hides it under his shoe, and the girl changes the subject. She invites him to go on an art show together and leaves him to think about it. Spencer remembers the fateful night again. In his room, Ashley found the drawings and complimented Spencer's artistic skills. She told him that she loved art too and showed him the snake tattoo on her arm. Ashley then began seducing him in a slow dance. Spencer admitted that she was the first girl he'd ever brought to his place. When he tried to take off her top, Ashley pulled away and told him to take it slow. At that moment, Spencer lost control and grabbed her by the throat. The girl stepped on his foot and tried to run away, but Spencer knocked her to the ground. She broke a fingernail on the flooring trying to fight back, and afterward, the guy finished Ashley off by slamming the back of her head into the floor. Victoria is getting ready to create another clone of the girl in order to extend the time between her son's violent episodes. She explains to Ashley that she got into a car accident and lost her memory. Later on, Victoria shows Ashley a video with a 7-year-old Spencer and his dog Max. Max was his first pet, who was tragically hit by a car and succumbed to his injuries within a week. The family was deeply affected by the loss and buried Max outside their home. Victoria shows Ashley the gravesite and the other dogs who met a similar fate as Max. She talks about how death is something that everyone, including themselves, cannot escape. Overwhelmed with emotion, the clone embraces Victoria, tears streaming down her face. Spencer notices the scene and recalls how his mother discovered the real Ashley's body. Victoria was horrified and slapped her son. She thought he had changed, but the woman quickly pulled herself together and ordered the body to be dragged to the lab.
Break her down to raw materials, there won't be anything recognizable left.
Spencer agrees to go to the art exhibit with Marissa after all. He gives her his jacket to keep her warm and thanks her for the invitation. After 6th grade, the boy was homeschooled under his mother's guidance and never saw art with his own eyes. At school, Spencer was quiet and never played with other kids, but one day he joined in to play King of the Hill and pushed a girl very hard. She fell and suffered a severe head injury, which ultimately led to her death in the hospital after 2 days. Marissa explains that it was simply an accident that could have happened to any child, and it was unfair to isolate him from the world completely. To cheer him up, she shows him the portrait he gave her earlier. The drawing is proudly displayed on the wall alongside other artworks, as the gallery owner was highly impressed and even suggested that Spencer could exhibit his other works. Spencer is shocked and angry that Marissa didn't ask his permission, but the girl just wanted to surprise him because she thinks Spencer is a talented artist and his works are truly inspiring. Meanwhile, Victoria realizes that her son is not home, and she finds his phone in the nightstand. However, Marissa is already pulling up to their house to drop off Spencer. She compliments him and wishes he could spend more time outside of his confinement. As Spencer leaves, the girl spots Ashley in the window. When Spencer comes inside, his mother greets him and once again prohibits him from seeing Marissa. She rummages through his stuff and shows him the drawings of his new friend. Victoria knows what will happen next, as she has been the sole person supporting her son throughout all these years. She asks if Spencer is willing to throw it all away for Marissa. Spencer replies that it feels different with her. Ashley overhears their conversation, and afterward, she has a nightmare where she is strangled and dragged across the floor in another bedroom, breaking her fingernail. In the morning, she tells Victoria about it and asks why her son is hiding from them. Victoria replies that he is just shy and tells her how Spencer found her after the accident. The girl wants to regain her memory soon and go home. The woman calls Parker in a panic, and they wonder if memories can be passed down through DNA. This Ashley seems real to Victoria, and the man asks if she's still willing to give her to Spencer to be choked to death. The mother says she is, because she would do anything for her son. Parker is also willing to do anything, but there's no way he can be involved in Spencer's life directly. Victoria says Spencer doesn't need a father, and ends the call. Meanwhile, Ashley sneaks into Spencer's room, where she finds fingernail marks and Spencer's sketchbook on the floor. She takes it into her room and hides it from Victoria. Later, Spencer tells his mother that he wants to end the experiment, but Victoria is against it. Both the doctors and Victoria herself have witnessed his cruelty towards animals since he was a child, and this issue has only gotten worse as he has grown older. According to his mother, this behavior will persist indefinitely. What would Spencer want to do anyway?
Run away with this girl?
I like her.
You'll kill her.
The next day, Marissa comes to their house and sees Victoria and Ashley in the garden. She sneakily takes a photo of them and almost gets noticed. Shortly after, Victoria receives an urgent call from work, as the company cannot proceed with the launch of the new product without her presence. She orders her son to stay inside the house and leaves in a hurry, but not before locking Ashley in her room. Meanwhile, Marissa finds a photo of Ashley on the internet and discovers that the girl is wanted for robbery. She quickly sends a text message to Spencer, informing him of this shocking revelation. At work, Victoria also receives the message through tracking software. Ignoring her coworker's objections, she immediately calls her son and rushes back home. Before she has a chance to get there, Marissa visits Spencer to tell him about Ashley. Meanwhile, Ashley's clone, locked upstairs, finds scary drawings in a sketchbook and throws it away in shock. Marissa hears the noise and continues to question Spencer.
Spencer, I saw her. I took her picture.
Desperate, Spencer now sees the girl as a dangerous witness and says he almost changed for her. He grabs Marissa by the throat, but the girl fights back and hits him with a bottle. She runs away, making a 911 call on the way, but Spencer catches up with her. In the meantime, Ashley discovers a hammer hidden in the closet and uses it to break the lock on the door. She heads downstairs and witnesses a gruesome scene. Seeing the headlights outside, Ashley hides in the lab, where she learns the whole truth about herself. Victoria runs into the house and finds Marissa's dead body. Everything happened exactly as she thought it would, and the mother slaps Spencer again. Spencer tries to justify what he did by saying that Marissa intended to call the police and confronted him. Victoria notices that Marissa has contacted emergency services, so she tells Spencer to hide Ashley and dispose of Marissa's body immediately. Spencer soon realizes that the clone has escaped. He assures his mother that he will take responsibility, but she refuses, as they are in this together. While Spencer moves Marissa's body into a container, Victoria confronts Ashley in the lab.
If my son hadn't taken you in, you would be rotting in a cage instead of—
Instead of what?
The clone threatens Victoria with a hammer, demanding to know how many times she's been killed. She tries to hit Victoria, but the woman dodges and tries to explain what a unique specimen she managed to create. But Ashley calls her a monster and hits her with the hammer. Spencer comes running at the noise and attacks Ashley, but she pushes him away and runs away. The girl takes cover behind a car and attacks Spencer from behind. She knocks him to the ground, chokes him, and smashes his head into the tiles. That's when the police called by Marissa arrive and arrest Ashley. Victoria discovers her son dead and cries inconsolably. Later, she destroys all the evidence and makes one last call to Parker. The man says it's time to stop. All her efforts are in vain, as the boy was broken from the beginning. Apparently, that's why the father abandoned his child. Victoria hangs up the phone and breaks the device she used to talk with her ex-husband. The face of Spencer's clone appears out of the black tank. Second story. When people end up together in a locked room, a lot of things change. Once couples move in together, they can break up soon after because of arguments, while casual and awkward encounters in an elevator or a smoking room can end up being fateful. The characters in this story know this very well. It's Friday night before Valentine's Day. Jennifer is staying late at the office. She misses her ex and writes him an email to meet and get back together. In the end, she decides not to send it. She takes a ticket to an overnight flight to New York, grabs a handful of candy from a bowl, and heads for the elevator. On the same floor, a man named Guy is tidying himself up, as if preparing for an important event. He catches the elevator alongside Jennifer just in time. It's a long way down from the 42nd floor, and they exchange a few jokes to break the awkward silence.
At least you brought the bottle of wine.
Oh yeah, close the deal for a client.
Guy notices a strange drawing on the wall of a man slamming into the walls of an elevator. Suddenly, the elevator gets stuck. They're unable to contact the emergency services, though the lights and screen are still on. The doors won't budge either. They try to wave at the CCTV camera and use their phones, but there's no signal. Because of the long weekend, there's a chance they won't get out until Tuesday, much to Jennifer's frustration since she has a plane to catch. To pass the time, they get to know each other. Jennifer is an account supervisor, and Guy is an accountant who recently started working in the building. Soon, they run out of patience, and Jennifer gets on Guy's shoulders to find an escape hatch in the ceiling. To her surprise, there is none. An hour passes, and Jennifer is late to her flight. She cusses in anger, and Guy backs her up. Jennifer smiles, and they realize they still don't know each other's names. After introducing themselves, they pull supplies out of their bags. Jennifer is very thirsty, and the man shares his water with her.
Now if you had like a double cheeseburger in the bag.
You know, I usually keep one stuffed down my pants, but...
In return, she gives him candies and pulls out a corkscrew in case they want to open the wine. But for now, they decide to save food and water. 4 hours later, Jennifer needs to use the bathroom, but she feels too self-conscious. Guy suggests using her empty thermos, and Jennifer manages to overcome the embarrassment. She is grateful to Guy for helping to defuse the awkward situation. Later, she uses the corkscrew to carve a girl next to the guy trapped in the elevator on the wall. They entertain themselves by tossing candy into a paper cone. Guy confesses that he's a lonely workaholic, and no one would notice if he disappeared. Jennifer admits that she's not someone who would be missed either. She impulsively bought the plane ticket to surprise her ex, but she doubts he'd be thrilled about it. Guy opens the bottle of wine, and Jennifer happily joins him. Later, they try to draw each other, and Guy shares that he's noticed her before.
At the time, I thought that if I told you that I did recognize you from the building, I didn't want you to think that I was some kind of like stalker or something.
He also admires her beauty and infectious smile, and he's happy he met her. Jennifer reciprocates with a warm smile and gratitude for the compliments. They show each other their sketches. Jennifer did a caricature, while Guy created a stunning portrait. Impressed by his artistic skills, Jennifer takes a picture of the drawing to use as her profile picture when they get out of the elevator. They take several selfies together, engaging in conversation to divert their attention from their growling stomachs. All the topics seem too boring to Jennifer, and she suggests talking about something more intimate. She also suggests filming the stories on camera. Guy gets shy, and Jennifer is the first to start. She talks about her adventures in the library, where she and her boyfriend read dirty novels. Guy has nothing similar to share, so Jennifer tells him to make up a story. He agrees and talks about a hookup with a coworker in his car after a corporate event. He is turned on by his own story, and Jennifer notices this. Now it's Guy's turn to feel embarrassed, but Jennifer encourages him, and Guy bluntly says he wants to kiss her. He comes closer, and there's a spark between them. They have a good time, but afterward, Guy blurts out that he might fall in love with Jennifer. This scares Jennifer, and she quickly gets dressed. She still wants to get back together with her ex, whom she loves and with whom she had a real relationship.
This is real. I'm real. You know, this is real.
Guy keeps asking her why she would go back to someone who doesn't love her. Jennifer gets annoyed and says that what happened between them was a one-time thing and won't lead to anything. Just then, the deeply hurt man reveals that he's been lying all along. His name isn't Guy, and he's actually the security guard who's been watching Jennifer every day. His previously relaxed demeanor suddenly shifts, and he vents his frustration by striking the elevator wall, complaining that no one notices or appreciates security guards. He set up the whole situation to get close to Jennifer. Realizing the plan has failed, he gives up and starts the elevator. When the revelation sinks in, Jennifer becomes enraged, threatening to call the police.
You're gonna rot in f***ing jail!
I can't have that.
Guy intentionally disables the elevator once again, provoking Jennifer's aggressive response. In her attempt to confront him, she accidentally kicks the control panel, causing the key to break and rendering the elevator inoperable. Fueled by anger, Jennifer lunges at Guy, slashing his head with a boot. He collapses, bleeding, and Jennifer gets closer, believing she killed him. However, it turns out that Guy was only feigning injury, and he knocks Jennifer unconscious with a punch. When Jennifer wakes up, Guy explains that getting stuck together was the best way for them to get to know each other. He removed all distractions, and they ended up getting along, sleeping together, fighting, and breaking up in just a few hours. And he didn't even force Jennifer to do anything. He just set the scene, and she really grew to like him. Guy also took the other guard's shifts, so no one will get them out until Tuesday. Jennifer mentions calling the cops again, and the man replies that he'd rather kill her than go back to prison. He starts pounding his fists on the wall, screaming that they were doing great until Jennifer ruined everything. Later, Guy calms down a bit and suggests they open the presents Jennifer brought for her ex. In the bag, he finds a jacket and puts it on. He then forces Jennifer to open another gift, a set of cigars. He scares her by waving a cigar cutter and a lighter in her face. Guy lights a cigar and tries to force her to smoke as well. Later, the tormentor apologizes for scaring Jennifer and asks her to give him another chance. The girl just keeps quiet, and Guy relieves the stress in an unusual way by shattering the lamps on the wall. Suddenly, he realizes that he can break out the plates on the ceiling as well. Using a thermos, Guy opens a way out. He asks Jennifer to give him a boost to go up and open the elevator from the outside. However, she suggests it should be the other way around.
I'm not gonna call the cops. Why would we even do that? After everything that we've been through.
She reassures him that she's forgiven him and is ready to go on a trip together when they get out. But once on the roof of the cabin, she gives Guy a middle finger and crawls up the ladder. Guy goes into a frenzy again, but soon makes a rope out of his clothes and pulls himself up. He quickly catches up with Jennifer, who almost manages to open the doors a floor above. Guy jumps after her, and together they fall back into the cabin and pass out. Jennifer is the first to wake up. She notices a water sprinkler connected to the fire alarm system. She sets Guy's drawings on fire to trigger it, but then Guy wakes up and tries to stop her. Jennifer kicks him in the face and ties his hands behind his back. Jennifer grabs the cigar tools and uses them as a means to intimidate Guy into confessing everything while filming him on camera. He reveals that his name is John Deakins, and he used to be a much adored vice president at a successful company. His story about a hookup with a coworker in his car was true, but he was drunk and took a wrong turn, killing the woman. Thanks to his lawyer, he only served 6 months, but couldn't find a decent job because of his criminal record. John had lost everything and thought Jennifer would never give a mere security guard a chance.
I worked my whole life for it. I just wanted to feel it, just for a little while.
Jennifer starts to cry and turns off the camera, feeling sorry for him. They are both exhausted and soon pass out. It's Monday, and John's coworker Eddie brings his girlfriend Ruby to work to show her the city view from the rooftop. He sees John and Jennifer on the CCTV and contacts them. The girl begs to be let out, not noticing that John's gradually freeing his hands. Eddie pries the door open with a crowbar and wants to lower the elevator, but John grabs Jennifer and hits her on the head. Eddie hears a familiar voice and tosses the key to his friend so he could start the elevator. John asks his partner to get inside with them, and when Eddie gets halfway in, he activates the elevator, cutting the guard's body in half. Jennifer screams in horror, and John knocks her out. Afterward, he carries Jennifer to the trunk of his car and gets rid of the rest of the evidence. As the man deletes the video surveillance footage, he is noticed by Ruby, who is dozing off in the foyer.
I'm sorry, have you seen Eddie?
John kills the last witness and dumps her body down the elevator shaft. He then drives off and stops in a back alley. John pours kerosene into a dumpster and then gently taps the trunk.
I just want you to know, I never meant for this to, go so far.
He expects Jennifer to resist, but her body lies still and her eyes seem lifeless. John tosses her bags into the dumpster, and Jennifer suddenly attacks him from behind, knocking him to the ground. She jumps into the car and hits the gas, but notices a smoldering cigar inside and pulls over. She backs up to hit John, who can only take cover from the impact in the dumpster. She slams into it with force and steps outside, finding John mortally wounded inside. Jennifer lights a cigar, takes a puff, and looks at her captor with a victorious look. She steps aside to get into the car and tosses the cigar into the dumpster. John gets engulfed in flames. Each episode of this series was inspired by a different holiday. For example, the episode about clones called All That We Destroy was released around Mother's Day, and the elevator story, Down, came out on Valentine's Day. As always, check out the name of the show in the video description. In the meantime, tell us in the comments, how ethical do you think it would be to clone people if one day it became possible? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button to see even more cool recaps.